Hey guys, this is Stephen Melin, music composer, and today we're talking about what is the best DAW in 2025. Well, it's not Cubase, it's not Logic, it's not Studio One, it's not Pro Tools, it's not Ableton Live, it's not Digital Performer, it's not even Reaper. Can you believe that? All the diehard Reaper fans are losing their minds right now, I'm sure. Do you want to know what it actually is? Well, I'll tell you. The best DAW in 2025, without a doubt, is your artistry. That's right. Your artistry is the best DAW in 2025. So let's define some terms. A DAW, a digital audio workstation, of course you know what that is, right? It's a piece of music software that helps you convert your sound in your head into real music. Now we do this with MIDI, we do it with sample libraries, we do it with plugins, and we convert these ideas, these notes, usually through MIDI, into a final product. We produce it, we mix it, we master it, we export that file as an audio file, and boom, that's what a DAW is really for. Versus your artistry is your one-of-a-kind sound that cannot be replicated by others. And the key word there is replicated. Now, I could mimic Nobuo Uematsu. I could mimic Yuzo Koshiro. I could mimic Austin Wintory. I could mimic Hans Zimmer and any number of amazing composers out there. John Williams, right? I can sound like them because I can learn their vernacular. I can learn what are their melodic structures, their chord structures, what are their go-to chord progressions, what tempos do they usually write in, what instruments do they usually write in, right? But I can't sound like them. I can sound similar, but why is it that I cannot replicate that person? Why does a client want to hire that composer over everyone else and pay top dollar for it? It's this right here. It's artistry. It's because that person is one of a kind, cannot be replicated. So what does that mean for us? It means we need to stop buying gear that we don't need. So there's a common lie out there. If I only had blank library or plugin, my music would sound so much better. Guys, I hear this so often from young composers. And I understand why, because they start off with nothing, right? They might have the default plugins inside their DAW, or they might have some notation software, but that's usually it. They haven't spent thousands of dollars on gear. So they intuitively think, oh, the pros have all of this gear, so therefore I have to have it in order to sound better. There's no other way. But the truth is, a master carpenter can create a masterpiece with entry-level tools, but a beginner can't create a masterpiece even with master-level tools. Back when I was in college, back before I really understood what I was doing here as a composer, I had access to virtually everything. On our college campus, they had all of the workstations as part of our composition program. And we had access to just about every sample library ever at the time. Granted, this was a little while ago, about a decade ago, and it was crazy. It was overwhelming. When I opened up a DAW, I think at the time we were using Logic, and I would open up Contact and start going through all of these libraries, all these high-end libraries, and I didn't even know what to do with it. And you know how much, like percentage-wise, I actually used of what was available to me? 1%, maybe. I basically found a few sounds that I liked from a few different companies and just kind of stitched them together and hoped it worked. And to a degree, it did work, because at the end of the day, it had nothing to do with my access to gear, had everything to do with my understanding and like we just mentioned, like being a master carpenter, understanding the tools, even if they're entry-level tools. But in my case, I was the beginner and I couldn't create a masterpiece because I didn't even understand the building blocks of how to use the tools. So having master level tools was kind of worthless to me. So what's the meaning? You can create amazing music with what you already have. So next step here is to hire live musicians. All pro composers have the same sample libraries and plugins. Some may even have expensive analog gear, but if you want to capture a unique sound that no one else on the planet can replicate, remember that word, replication, you need to hire live musicians. Because even if another composer has the exact same musicians as you, which is actually quite common, I actually record with a lot of solo musicians that a lot of other big composers use, the exact same people. But guess what? All of us end up with different sounds, different styles, and different directions because the art, right? The artist, the source of the content, me as the composer, I know what I want out of those instruments. I know what I'm hiring those people for, and my parts are wildly different than someone else writing their parts. So it is absolutely essential that you start implementing some kind of live music, even if it's just one instrument. A soloist on top of your music could actually make all the difference in the world. Next up, make something unique. At the end of the day, it's not enough to hire live musicians. I know I just talked about how important it is to hire live musicians, but there's something else here. Your music needs to be unique. So what I'm really talking about is the tone, the style, the genre, your melodic and chord choices. Basically everything that makes you, you in your music. This is how you build a quality portfolio and get hired as an artist. Because who are we battling? We're actually battling AI music right now, aren't we? So what can AI music do that is making people want to hire that? Or in most cases, use it for free? Well, AI music is fast, it's instant, and it responds to a prompt. So ultimately, a game developer or a film director can type in a prompt and they can get something that more or less fits the description. But what's the problem with this? It has no soul. It has no humanity. It has no, well, experience. It has no life experience to draw from. It has no emotion. And that's the whole soul piece. So us as artists, we have to dig deeper. We really have to hone this craft of digging into the emotions of our life experiences and emoting that through our music. And on a practical level, it's the tone, it's the style, it's the genre, it's our choices of melody and chords that ultimately make a Stephen Melin composition a Stephen Melin composition and not an Austin Winery composition or whoever else, right? We all have our own unique style and sound, and the way that we get there is we have to lean into what makes us unique. So please go out there and experiment and try new things and be okay with being weird. Throw a weird instrument into the mix. Go record something, because even you recording something poorly, like my percussion box that sits behind me, I have a hammered dulcimer in the closet over there, I pick up my violin sometimes, I sing sometimes, and even though all of those things are probably horrible compared to a pro that I could hire to play those things, it's me. It's me playing something authentic and playing something real. And no one else is going to have that sound. And that's what makes it so special. That's what makes being an artist so special. Here's an important point to remember. You won't please everyone. In fact, the true sign of being a successful artist is that you will be highly attractive to some and repulsive to others. I mean, think about your favorite band. Think about your favorite artist, your favorite composers. You might love that musician or that group, highly attractive to you. It just speaks to your soul. And then you might share that with a friend and they're like, what? This sucks. This is just how it goes. You can't please everyone. So don't try to. You really got to lean into your lane. When you're being authentic to your artistry, then you will attract your ideal game developer clients and work on the projects you've dreamed of. Because what better composer for a game than someone who is 100% tuned into that style, to that genre, the tone, the instrumentation, everything. Like, you're going to be a perfect fit for your dream projects because you're going all in. And I know that this video is not about branding and marketing per se, but this is the reason I talk so much on this channel and inside Video Game Music Alliance about this concept of branding a very specific sound to your name. And you can change it later, but starting off, people have to know, what do you stand for? What type of music do you write? If you look at any of my music, even though I've written a lot of genres over the years, my music is kind of one of two things. It's either going to be highly emotional, orchestral music, or it's going to be kind of quirky, high energy, very upbeat, like platformer video game type of music. And it's usually one of those two things, and most of my music falls in that categories. So you need to figure that out for yourself. What is your lane going to be? Because that's how you're going to get most of your work. So if you are wondering what DAW I use though, I'm a big fan of New Window. It doesn't mean you have to be, but recently it's just been the DAW that kind of does everything. I affectionately call it Cubase Pro, because not many people have heard of New Window, but it's by Steinberg. It is the next level up from Cubase Pro. And I use it every day in the studio for all things MIDI, audio, and bulk exporting files. But then I also have to use Pro Tools reluctantly. I actually love Pro Tools, but I've just come to love New Window more when it comes to mixing and to mastering and exporting bulk files. But Pro Tools I have to use because I record live musicians a lot. I record orchestras and choirs. I work overseas remotely with other studios. And so these sound stages, they use Pro Tools. So they're going to record on their rig, and then they're going to send me the Pro Tools sessions. And then I take it and I have to go through and actually export all the files out of there so that I can use them inside New Window. Now that's just my opinion, but I thought you should know. But here's the main thing. Use whatever you're skilled with. It's not worth dying on the battlefield of which DAW is actually the best, because it's going to vary based on your preferences, your workflow, and what are you skilled with? How do you actually write music? What's going to actually benefit you best? So if you haven't experimented with multiple DAWs, you really should, because ultimately it's going to be a matter of how do you get the job done the fastest and the cleanest and you're the most comfortable with. But to our point earlier, that's the whole point of this video. Your artistry is the only thing that separates you from every other composer on the planet. Be unique, do good work, build a meaningful career. So, if you want to become a full-time game composer, stop chasing tools and become the tool. That's hard to say with a straight face. Let's change it. If you want to become a full-time game composer, stop chasing tools and sharpen yourself, the tool. I think that sounds a little bit better. What do you think? Thanks so much for watching this, guys. Once again, I'm Stephen Melin, and I'm just so grateful that you're here. And I hope that this lesson was, even though it's a little bit different, I hope that this is inspiring to you, that you will stop chasing the gear and instead you'll start investing in yourself. So if you want to invest in yourself today, come check out Video Game Music Alliance. If you're looking to build a career as a game composer, I can't think of a better place. I built it to be the #1 community in the world for video game composers to connect with each other, to build their career together as they work through all of our common issues. Usually has to do with the business side, but it also has to do with the composing, producing, and technology sides as well. So if you have not yet checked us out, you can actually come join our free Discord right now. There's a link in the description below for you to do that. And we have a pro membership as well to really take your stuff, take your career to the next level when we open next for our next launch soon. Can't wait to see you on the next video. So thanks so much.